When those who are chance originationists proclaim the chance origin of the self and the world on two grounds, that is merely the feeling of those who do not know and see, etc. When those who are speculators about the past, having fixed views about the past, put forward various speculative views about the past in 18 different ways, that is merely the feeling of those who do not know and see, the worry and vacillation of those immersed in craving. When those who proclaim a doctrine of conscious post-mortem survival do so in 16 different ways, that is merely the feeling of those who do not know and see, etc. When those who proclaim a doctrine of unconscious post-mortem survival do so in 8 different ways, that is merely the feeling of those who do not know and see, etc. When those who proclaim a doctrine of neither conscious nor unconscious post-mortem survival do so in 8 ways, that is merely the feeling of those who do not know and see. When those who are annihilationists proclaim the annihilation, destruction, and non-existence of beings in 7 ways, that is merely the feeling of those who do not know and see. When those who are proclaimers of Nibbana here and now proclaim Nibbana here and now for an existent being on 5 grounds, that is merely the feeling of those who do not know and see. When those who are speculators about the future in 44 different ways speculate about the future, do not know and see. When those ascetics and Brahmins who are speculators about the past, the future, or both, having fixed views, put forward views in 62 different ways, that is merely the feeling of those who do not know and see, the worry and vacillation of those immersed in craving. And those ascetics and Brahmins who are eternalists proclaim the eternity of the self and the world in 4 ways, that is conditioned by contact. Similarly, for the eternalists, non-eternalists, finitists and infinities, irregulars, chance originations, etc. Those ascetics and Brahmins who are speculators about the past, future, or both, having fixed views, put forward views in 62 different ways, that is conditioned by contact. Sorry for a moment. Conditioned by contact means contact at the 6 sense organs through seeing or hearing or smelling, taste, touch and thinking. That all of these eternalists and the rest should experience that feeling without contact is impossible. With regard to all of these, they experience these feelings by repeated contact to the 6 sense bases. Feeling conditions craving, craving conditions clinging, clinging conditions becoming or being, being conditions birth, birth conditions aging and dying, sorrow, lamentation, sadness and distress. When a monk understands as they really are the arising and passing away of the 6 bases of contact, their attraction and peril, and the deliverance from them, he knows that which goes beyond all these views. Whatever ascetics and Brahmins who are speculators about the past or the future or both, having fixed views on the matter and put forth speculative views about it, these are all trapped in the net with its 62 divisions, and wherever they emerge and try to get out, they are caught and held in this net. Just as a skilled fisherman or his apprentice might cover a small piece of water with a fine mesh net, thinking, whatever larger creatures there may be in this water, they are all trapped in the net, caught and held in the net. So it is with all these, they are trapped and caught in this net. Monks, the body of the Tathagata stands with the link that bound it to becoming cut. As long as the body subsists, devas and humans will see him. But at the breaking up of the body and the exhaustion of the lifespan, devas and humans will see him no more. Monks, just as when the stalk of a bunch of mangoes has been cut, all the mangoes on it go with it. Just so the Tathagata's link with becoming has been cut. As long as the body subsists, devas and humans will see him. But at the breaking up of the body and the exhaustion of the lifespan, devas and humans will see him no more. At these words, the Venerable Ananda said to the Lord, "It is marvelous, Lord, it is wonderful. What is the name of this exposition of Dhamma?" Ananda, you may remember this exposition of Dhamma as the net of advantage, the net of Dhamma, the supreme net, the net of views, or as the incomparable victory in battle. Thus the Lord spoke, and the monks rejoiced and were delighted at his words. And as this exposition was being proclaimed, the 10,000 world system shook. That's the end of the sutta. This last part I like to comment, it's quite interesting. 3.73. The body of the Tathagata stands with the link that bound it to becoming cut. That is when a person becomes liberated, this being of becoming, bhava is cut. And this bhava, in the 12 links of dependent origination, there are different interpretations. But I think what bhava means is the I am. If a person has this view, I am or I exist, he is still in samsara. Only when you have let go the view that you have a self, so this becoming or this being is cut. So there's no living being. There's no living being because there is no self. So an enlightened being becomes like a tree. There is no self. He has consciousness, but of course he has more wisdom than the tree. But he has no self at all. But even though there is no self, he does not have mental dukkha, but he still has bodily dukkha. So here it says, as long as the body subsists, devas and humans will see him. But at the breaking up of the body, devas and humans will see him no more. And this is also mentioned in the Mahayana Diamond Sutra. But unfortunately, there are some Mahayana sutras that contradict this, like the Earth Store Bodhisattva Sutra, Shittigarbha Sutra. And in that sutra, it says when the Buddha was about to speak, the Earth Store Bodhisattva Sutra, millions and millions of Buddhas came. The Buddhas have entered Nibbana, how can they come? And the Buddha also says in the suttas that you cannot find two Buddhas at the same time. Two Sammasambuddhas. You can find many Pachika Buddhas, but never two Sammasambuddhas together. So you can see this Digha Nikaya, very long sutta. Just reading it out with not much explanation took me already 1 hour. So we have to end here this sutta for tonight. Anything to discuss? Any comment? Otherwise we can talk a bit about meditation in case some of you are not very familiar with meditation. If you're going to stay here for 3 months, you're going to have to spend a lot of time meditating. Yeah.
Can I ask about worldview number 17, page 81? Where there are monks, certain devas or unconscious. And when that in other sutta, 5 aggregates must come together. How come this one could not be?
In the sutta, this you want me to explain about the asanya satta. Asanya means without perception. Sanya is perception. So these beings without perception. If a being has no perception, that means he has no consciousness. There's a sutta where the Buddha says in the, I think, Sangyutta Nikaya, that when consciousness arises, it must come along with the 5 aggregates. Okay? There's no coming and going of consciousness without the 5 aggregates. So when you have a consciousness, that consciousness must reside in a body. Okay? But the other way around, the Buddha never said. The Buddha never said that if you have a body, you must have consciousness. No. The Buddha said, when you have consciousness, you must have the 5 aggregates. Okay? But in this case, this being is supposed to be in the 4th jhana plane. And if you heard one of my previous talks, I mentioned that my guess is that this being was an ascetic in the previous life who had attained the 4th jhana. And then he thought all our suffering comes from our consciousness. As long as we are conscious, as long as we are aware of suffering. So if this consciousness were to stop completely, then there will be no suffering. So they use their mind to crush the mind, which the Buddha also tried to do, but the Buddha was not successful. So if a person has 4th jhana, his mind is so strong, he crushes the consciousness until the consciousness stops. So because he's in that state where there is no consciousness, there is body. So because he practices this for long, when he dies, he's born in that fourth jhana realm, just body but no consciousness. And then he's there for a long time. When the consciousness arises, he passes away from there. Maybe into the third jhana plane. And then, okay? What page? What page? 1.2. Page 71.
In terms of livelihood, about the curing of those black magic and all these things considered livelihood.
For a monk working as a shaman, curing black magic and all that is wrong livelihood. Wrong livelihood. But there are certain exceptions. The Buddha, for example, the Buddha does not allow a monk to work as a doctor. But if he can cure those either other monks or those helpers in the monastery, those supporters in the monastery who like stewards who are very close supporters and helping dayakas supporting the monks, then he is allowed to help but not simply any Tom, Dick and Harry because if he tries to help some person who don't have so much faith, then something goes wrong. Then they put the blame on the monk. Just now I mentioned already, a monk is not allowed to work as a doctor. Only to very close, except to very close monks and novices and vihara supporters. There are some monks I know in Thailand. They do all these things. They help people get rid of ghosts. They help to cure people and all this. And you find there's a long queue of people waiting for him. Wherever he goes, all the sick people will be running after him. So he cannot practice at all. So that's why the Buddha don't allow monks to do all these things.
Those things that he does not do describe as base. For example, practicing of magic, medicine, weather forecast. But some of the practices like fortune tellers and Nikaya, we describe that those people practice such an art. They normally end up in hell and very bad rebirth. When the Buddha says base, for us Buddhists, to be found away from this kind of except for medicine, like doctors to cure people, but like those feng shui, magic.
When the Buddha says these are base practices, he means from the point of view of a monk. If a person is on the spiritual path, he doesn't want to spend his time doing all these things. And have no time for practice. For lay people it's different.
Some monks, scholastic monks, tend to put a lot of emphasis on the various views described as 62 views. But you can see here that the Buddha's the most important one is actually what the Buddha said is coming off, coming. He described the views as
page 90.
Feelings. He says feelings. 3.71. With regard to all these views, they experience these feelings
the contact through the six sense basis. Then the last paragraph says, Mahathera understand as the living on the horizon and passing away of the six sense basis of contact, their attraction, parallel, and he learns from them. He knows that it goes beyond all these views. It means page 89, 3.71. I was thinking that this probably is one of the most more important thoughts than the views which was described, the 62 views being described in the whole sutta. Then sometimes I tend to explain what are the other views. Maybe an artistic on this for us studying the sutta. Sometimes it's like a red herring, you go and pay attention, try to understand what all the other 62 views instead of really find out what is the Buddha's emphasis in this very sutta.
I think I mentioned already in the beginning that if you study all these views, it's not going to make you become enlightened. It's not going to make you a Sotapanna or Sakadagamin and all that. So it's not important. What is important, the Buddha always says, is to see there is no self. And the self is always, the Buddha says, in the body and the mind. We always take the body and the mind to be the self. So to see that there is no self, you have to see there is no self in the body and the mind. So the five aggregates is one of the very important topics. The other one is the six bases. Six sense bases. Actually, if you look carefully, the six sense bases also refers to the body and the mind. It's also body and the mind, because the sixth base, the mind, is the mind base. The first five are all the body base. So the other one is the dependent origination. If you know how suffering arises, then only you can get rid of suffering. So these are the three most important topics: the five aggregates, the six sense bases, and dependent origination. And like these views, the Buddha says views are not important at all, and Buddha has gone beyond views. So why you want to study so much about views? So we can end here. Okay, just, I'm afraid. Can continue. So I want to talk a bit about meditation, because some of you are going to spend 3 months here, and maybe you want to know something more about meditation. The Buddha's meditation is given in the Majjhima Nikaya. When Venerable Ananda was asked what type of meditation is praised by the Buddha, what type of meditation is not praised by the Buddha, and Venerable Ananda gave a very straightforward answer. The meditation that is praised by the Buddha is the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. And the meditation that is not praised by the Buddha is the type of meditation when you practice the meditation, you cannot get rid of the 5 hindrances. This is very clear in the sutta. So the only way to get rid of the 5 hindrances is to attain the jhanas. This is quite clear from the suttas. So any meditation that we practice has to, the aim should be to attain the jhanas. Because when you attain the jhanas, then your mind becomes what is called bhavana, developed. When your mind is developed, then you see from a higher level, you know and see from a higher level. So initially the Buddha taught, the first method of meditation the Buddha taught was the 32 parts of the body, which for most people is hard to practice, because first you have to learn to memorize the 32 parts of the body, head, hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinew, bone, marrow, kidney, heart, liver, midriff, spleen, lung, etc. So after that you go forward, you go backward. And if you chant slowly, that is a contemplation exercise to make you see the body is made out of these 32 parts. If you chant slowly and you think about these 32 parts frequently, then it sticks in your mind. So when you see a person, you think of the 32 parts. Normally, for most people, when you see somebody, we see beautiful or ugly, it's all skin deep only. As they say, beauty is only skin deep. We never think about the inside. So because of that, we have attraction to the body, lust. So it's one of the reasons we remain in samsara. So I was thinking, why did the Buddha teach the 32 parts of the body as a first meditation when he himself never practiced it? So I think all Buddhas, when they want to teach, all Sammasambuddhas, they would have contemplated the past, what other Buddhas taught, and then they teach the same thing. So probably other Buddhas also taught this, so the Buddha taught this. But then this meditation, if you practice it frequently, then you become disgusted with the body. So some of the monks committed suicide. Then after that, the Buddha was asked to teach another meditation. Then the Buddha taught Anapanasati. These are the two main meditations that the Buddha taught in the suttas and in the Vinaya. There were some others which were already popular even before the Buddha's time, like the Kasinas, meditating on earth, meditating on color, meditating on fire, meditating on water, and all these things. So, but the two main meditations of the Buddha are these two. So, as a shortcut to practicing the first one, instead of reciting the 32 parts of the body, you can chant something simpler like Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. If you just chant Namo Buddhaya, after a while your mind will start roaming. So what you need to do is put another rope around the mind, and that is to, when you chant Namo, you can move one of your right fingers, any one of your right finger, very lightly, very subtly, nobody will notice. And then when you say Buddhaya, you move your left finger, any one of your left finger. So because you have to synchronize the Namo with the finger movement and the Buddhaya with the finger movement, the mind doesn't run away so fast. Similarly, when you walk meditation, when your right foot touches the ground, you say Namo. When your left foot touches the ground, you say Buddhaya. So whether you want to walk fast or you want to walk slow, it's up to you. If you are sleepy, you walk faster, and also sleepy, you walk slower. So that is a simple thing. Now the other thing you need to know is meditation. If you are practicing one method of meditation, you are not making progress, you can switch to another method. So Anapanasati is to watch the breath go in, go out. Also the same, as you are watching your breath, very soon your mind will run away. So you have to pull another rope. The other rope is to mentally chant. When the breath goes in, you say in. When the breath goes out, you say out. That also is not enough. So another thing to do is make a bit of effort to pull the breath down to the abdomen. Because if you make a bit of effort to pull the breath down to the abdomen, it helps to relax your body. When we are very relaxed, we breathe, the abdomen goes up and down. When somebody is asleep, you watch, like a baby is asleep, deep sleep, you find the abdomen goes up and down. Up and down. So when we are totally, when we are tense, we tend to breathe shallow breathing, only up to the chest. So when to help yourself to relax, purposely pull your breath slightly, not down to your abdomen, and then out. So you notice the breath going down to your abdomen. This breath meditation is called body contemplation of the body, because the Buddha said, the breath body. We are supposed to contemplate the breath body. But later books like the Visuddhimagga, they say to meditate at a point, at the tip of your nose or your upper lip. This is not what the Buddha said. The Buddha said to contemplate the breath body. So you can follow the breath if you want, and notice it come to the abdomen, and then go out to your nostril. And sometimes, for most people, this is still not enough. The mind will still wander. So what you can do is, when you say in, when the breath goes in, and you say in, you move one of your right fingers. Move one of your right fingers slightly. And then when it goes out, you don't need to move any finger. When it goes in, you move one of your fingers. The Buddha said in the suttas, that mindfulness of the body leads to death, to the deathlessness, mindfulness of the body. And this body can be breath body, can be the physical body. But one thing you must notice, when our mind strays, and the mind starts to think of, as we say in Hokkien, going east, going west, xiao tang, xiao sai, then you forgot about yourself sitting in meditation, You forgot you are here sitting in meditation, you are roaming here and there. The moment you remember you are here sitting in meditation, the thinking is cut straight away. So it helps if you move your finger. If you move your finger when the breath goes in, you move your finger slightly, then you are aware of your body and the mind does not run away. So you can try that. Whenever you're sleepy or what, you find it hard to concentrate, then you move your finger slightly. When the breath goes in, you say in, and also try to pull it down to the Tan Tian, your abdomen. And so on the in-breath, you move a finger slightly. On the out-breath, no need to move. So these are different ways to putting more rope around the mind to prevent it jumping away. The mind is like a monkey, always trying to jump away. Any question? Louder, please. This loving kindness meditation nowadays, people teach is to chant, may I be well and happy, may so and so be well and happy, may everybody be well and happy. This is not the Buddha's method. In the Buddha's method, in the suttas, the Buddha says, first you attain the jhana, then after that you radiate the loving kindness out, and other beings can feel it. Okay? But that is difficult because most people don't have the first jhana. Okay, so another way, a simpler way to do, but which is effective, and the Buddha says for us to practice is that to practice loving kindness to the body, speech, and mind, to our body actions, to our speech, and always to have kind thoughts. So body actions means. Like you shake hands with people, you give people a hug, that is body action. Not raise a stick or or what. So that is body action. The other one is verbal action. Verbal action through your speech, especially like through your people work in the office. Sometimes people are very stressed out. So you have used kind words. People appreciate. Don't raise your voice. The Buddha said a good speech has a few characteristics. First, it must be truthful, then it must be beneficial, then it must be spoken gently, then it must be spoken with a mind of love, and what else? One more. Must be timely. When a person is angry, don't give him advice. He doesn't want to hear your advice. When he's not angry, then you can give him advice if you want. So, especially body action and verbal language, body language and verbal language. That is the way to show loving kindness. Then mind also. The mind is to consider that everyone in this world is suffering. Sometimes a person is not nice to you. You think maybe he's got problems in the house, family problems. So he's stressed out. Come to office, very. So if you think kind thoughts like this, then you people can sense it. For example, if somebody is nasty to you, you don't retaliate. You just accept it. Maybe my karma, previous life, I created bad karma. Now people are like that towards me. So you whatever people bad give to you, you just accept. After some time, they see you are very special, you are different. Then they are nice to you. Okay. Okay.
So, I have a basic question on meditation. What was mentioned in the sutta, when we meditate, we have to open the eye and close the eye, way to that.
Okay, generally, we close our eyes, because if you open your eyes, you're not going to get into a deep state of concentration. If you want to get into a deep state of concentration, you have to close your eyes. But for a lot of beginners, when you close your eye, you fall asleep. Especially people who do a lot of physical work. So in that case, you have to half open your eye. Half open and look about 6 or 10 feet away on the ground. Okay, let's end here.